Hello YouTube, welcome to my Overwatch 2 hero tier list. Today we're going to be ranking each hero in Season 15 with their new perks and their new abilities and the new heroes. We're going to see where they fall in this tier list. Alright, let's just jump right into it. Sigma. I think Sig's really good, especially with his ability to now be able to hover. And he's always just been really strong. Do I think he's dominant and very meta? No. So I think I'm going to put him in A tier. His perks help him a little bit, but they're kind of outclassed by some of the other ones. So we're just going to put him in A tier and we're going to move on. Diva. Her perks don't really help her all that much, to be honest. They give her some extra health, or she can have her defense matrix, something with her defense matrix, but they don't really change her gameplay all that much. So before she was A tier, I still think she's A tier. Solid pick, but I don't think she's dominant. Ramatra, his perks don't really help him all that much. And honestly, I don't see him played very much either. He's still very strong, especially against other heroes in their new perks. His ability to punch through shields is especially helpful. His ability to punch through shields is especially helpful, especially against Orisa with one of her new perks, but I don't think she's dominant. I just don't think he's dominant, and I think that there's just better options. Now, Roadhog I see get played quite a bit in comp. I think he's really good. I think his take a breather, making him be able to move a lot faster, I think that helps him out incredibly. And some of his other perks, I think, just help him. They made him a little bit stronger, and that's scary because Roadhog's been dominant. He was dominant for a long time in early Overwatch 2. Then he kind of fell off because they massively nerfed him. And then Orisa came in, and then they massively nerfed her, and they micro buffed Hog all the way back up. So then he was strong again, and then he was weak, and then he's strong. So I'm worried that he's getting a little bit stronger once again. Reinhardt, I love this guy, but I just don't think he can hang with the club. I don't think he's got that kind of dog in him. I just don't think he's able to hang. Malga gets dumped on by some of the other heroes in this patch, especially if you play around his E. If he pops his E and you hide for 3 seconds, then he just falls over. So I don't think he's that great this season. Hazard is our first S tier tank. He was really strong in Season 14, and he's only gotten stronger, especially with Lifesteal now as one of his perks. He's so strong. His mobility just is untouched. It's outclassed. It's not outclassed. It outclasses everybody else. Junker Queen. I think Junker Queen is sneaky strong this season. I just think that she's harder. She's a harder tank to play than a lot of the other tanks, but she's got that commanding shout, speed boost. She's got Lifesteal as one of her major perks. The only thing that's holding her back is she still doesn't have a ton of mobility. She can move faster, but she doesn't have a ton of mobility. So sometimes she's just a standing duck, or a sitting duck, not a standing duck. I think Doomfist is really strong this season. His perks giving him more overhealth and giving him a charge punch if he hits 4 or more people, I think that's really strong. And I think that helps to buff out his kit just a little bit more than it was. Because before he still falls over to counter picking, which is why he's not higher up in A tier. But his perks boost him up to A tier. Otherwise he would be, last season he would have been in B tier. His perks help him to survive longer, to be more engaged in the fight than he was. Because before he's just like a presence, got fear to the enemy team. But now he can be more active in the battle, and I think that helps him out just a little bit. Hamster Ball, honestly, with his perks, I'm going to put him in S tier. I think Hammond is going to be sneaky good this season, and I think he's going to climb up those ranks. I think people who use him are going to climb up those ranks a little bit faster than somebody else, just because I think his perks round out his kit really well. Being able to either give more shield capability to your teammates or make them move a little bit faster with one of his perks, or you can choose the all-out offensive and do more damage to tanks, and pile drive does a lot more damage. So I think he's sneaky good in a way that makes him really strong. So Orisa, I kind of think Orisa's same place as Hog. Usually these two go hand in hand. So you nerf one, the other one gets really strong. You nerf this one, gets really strong. And I think they're in the same place, and that's kind of scary because they didn't. Orisa was really strong last season, and they didn't really touch her all that much. So I think she's a looming presence that if they buff her again, it's going to be terrifying. Especially with her perks, where she can have just a giant dome shield around her. I think Winton is still one of the better tanks in this game. His ability to be wherever you want him to be is crazy. His ability to block off heals, his ability to protect your teammates, I think they're all very, very good. But Winston and his backline presence, his ability to throw a shield down and protect a teammate or block off heals, and his mobility, that just makes him very strong. I also think Zarya is another S tier tank this season, and I think that for two reasons. One, she gets piercing when she's above 50 energy, and two, her grav can do a lot more damage now than it used to, making it easier to secure eliminations while in the grav, especially if you grab someone like Bap and he throws down immortality field. It'll break there's a lot more opportunity there. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's your tank tier list for season 15 before mid-season patch next week. Now on to DPS. Oh boy, let's take a look at DPS. So again, like we do, the tanks are going to stay in place, but we're going to put the DPS behind, and you'll understand. Bastion, I think, is A tier. His self-repair is so strong. It is getting nerfed, but his self-repair is so strong that I think putting him anywhere lower than A tier is just not working. Personally, for me, I really like the cannons, the artillery shells. I think that makes him really, really strong, and I think that is more fun gameplay wise than just charging up your turret and hoping to hit a bunch of people. It's just more fun that way. Cass, I think, is S tier. His fan the hammer damage is insane, and you can control the shots to make sure you can hit each one. It's not automatic anymore, and that just on its own is insane. But his ability to also throw a second flashbang is crazy. It does so much more damage, and it really does help you secure eliminations. I've killed a bunch of people after I get them really weak, and then you just throw a flashbang and they're a little less than half HP, and then they just fall over and they're dead. So I think Cass is back to being S tier. Genji, I think Genji is kind of B tier. Honestly, I haven't played a whole lot of Genji. He's not my main. I'm not very good at him, but I don't see a lot of people playing him, and also I don't think his perks did a whole lot for him. So I think Hanzo's also a B tier. He did get his scatter arrow back as one of his perks, but I don't think that helped him out a ton. His ability to destroy deployables with his ult is also very helpful. They changed that last season. I just don't think I see him much higher than that. If you're a Hanzo fan, I'm sorry. I just don't see him played a whole lot either. I think he's just fallen out of... Well, he can one-shot. So I'll put him at the top of B tier. He's really close to A, but I just don't think he quite buffs up to that point. Junkrat, I think Junkrat falls to the same kind of thing. He has all this mobility and all this damage, but there's just... I just don't know how to put it. He just doesn't do... The amount of work you have to put in to do the same thing you can do on something like Bastion, it's just not... I just don't personally think it's worth it. It takes a lot more aiming. It takes a lot more use of your abilities and memorization of those cooldowns. The skill ceiling's just a lot higher with Junkrat. And for someone like me, the amount of work you have to do is just too much. So, personally, I don't think it's going to be for me. I think Mei is your sneaky S tier this season. You want to know why? I think that's the reason. Because of her, now she can slow you down with her freeze, her primary fire. Her ice block can now slow you down as one of the perks. And she does crazy damage with her right click. So I think she was definitely a looming threat last season where she was the top of A tier. But now I think she's your sneaky S tier this season. So be very careful. I think Pharah also is S tier. She was really dominant last season. She's still really dominant now. And now she can move in barrage and she can pull people in with her concussive mine. So I think she's just, her perks kind of really rounded out her kit, and it made her even stronger than she was before. Reaper, I think I'm gonna put Reaper right below Hanzo. He's pretty good this season, I'm not gonna lie. He is pretty good this season, but I don't think he can hang. He definitely can't hang up here in the same category as our S tiers. But I think even a Bastion would put him down pretty easy. He's kind of like that frontline presence that does a lot of damage up front, and then they get scared and they run away. And then they come back and they do a lot of damage and they get scared and they run away. And it's not hard for him to secure kills. But compared to something like Pharah, where you can do the same thing that Reaper does, but from in the sky and far away, it's just, I don't think he's as good as the other DPS. That's not to say he's not a valid pick. You can absolutely play him if you wouldn't want to, but just know you're going to have a little bit of a harder time. He did get his orbs back, his death orbs, so he can get some extra heal. He can get his secondary fires where he can shoot from range, but even that doesn't do like a crazy amount of damage unless you're really accurate with it, but it's got like a long cooldown. So personally, I just don't think he can hang in the A tier. So I'm going to put him mid B tier. Soldier, unfortunately, he's a really good starting pick if you're new to the game, but I just don't think his perks didn't help him out a ton. He's still strong. Honestly, I think C tier might be a little bit harsh. I'm going to put him in B tier, bottom of B. He's strong, but he just gets outclassed again by something like a Cass, even. Because why would you choose Soldier when you can choose Cassidy to take on a Pharah? His perks are just so much stronger than Soldier's. So, it's one of those situations. Why choose him when there's someone so much better? So, that's why he's in B tier. I just don't think Sim can hang very well. Sure, Symmetra's, although I do find her very annoying. Her perks gave her an extra turret and a couple other things, but they just aren't that strong. And as you just break her turrets, then she falls over. Unless you're me, who's a ball main, can't really do much against it. But I don't know how to put it. She just falls over. She's just not on the same level as even something like Junkrat. Junkrat would be able to take her on pretty easy. Plus her range isn't that good. Her ultimate is pretty good for taking space, but all they have to do is just walk past it. And then it's done. So for that reason, I think she's a C tier. I haven't played a ton of her, so maybe if you're her main and you know how to use her kit very well, you might bump her up higher, but I don't think she can contend anywhere close to these S tier candidates. So that's just my thoughts on that. Torb, I think, is another one of your sneaky S tiers. I see him played quite a bit. His ult is really good for taking space and securing eliminations on weak enemies. His turret can stick to walls. That's kind of crazy. He can get a tier 3 turret. He's just one, and he's a little bit smaller and faster, so he can move. He can zigzag. I think he's sneaky S. He's right there with Mei. I'm gonna actually put them together. They're together. Torb was down here, but his perks bump him up. That sticky turret is really helpful. And you throw it up high on a wall, and a lot of people just forget it's there, and you end up dying to it a good bit because nobody else takes it out. Or you put it in a sneaky spot that's kind of hard to get to, but it can still see somebody. So I just see him played a lot, and I see him kind of dominating in that field. So I think he's gone up quite a bit in the ranks. He's very strong. So solid pick if you're looking for someone to play. He's a solid pick. Tracer, she's always S tier. Man, her blinks and ability to distract your backline and prevent them from healing you is just incredible. And she's really good at securing eliminations. And now she can get double her blinks with one of her perks. So she's just got even stronger. She got even stronger than she was before. So actually, I think I'm going to put her right below Pharah, because I think that a Pharah is still a little bit better than a Tracer. Widowmaker, I think she's kind of fallen down a little bit. I'm going to put her in A tier, only because she's really strong, but her perks didn't do a whole lot for her. Her perks are kind of lame. She uses less ammo, whoop-de-doo. You know? That's what it feels like. If she got like a double grapple, that would be sick. But she didn't. She got, now your scope shots take 3 ammo instead of 6. Ooh. Or your scope charges up 10% faster when you have your ultimate active. Oh! That's the kind of things that happen, and I just don't think that's worth it. I think there are better options. But she's still really strong. Her kit as a baseline is really strong. To be so far away and still be able to secure eliminations, that's what makes her really strong. I'm going to put her in A tier. Venture, I think Venture's kind of, she's bottom of B. She's okay. She's pretty good, but she's not like crazy. I'm going to move Soldier back down to C. I'm doing it. Because why would you pick, it's the sentiment of why would you pick Soldier when you can pick any of these. Venture, I think Venture's B. I think she's strong. I don't think she's overpowered. I think her perks help her out a little bit, but they don't help her out like a ton. And she's always just like that mid-range B, low A, mid B tier. I just don't think she got that much of a difference this season. Sombra, if I'm playing ball, she's S tier. If I'm playing anything else, she's C tier. She just doesn't do a whole lot besides make the game impossible to play for someone on ball or on Doomfist, or make your supports have a bad time. She just doesn't do a lot. I just don't like her. I don't like her either. I think she's not fun to play against. I think she's not fun to play with. I don't think she's fun to play. Hold on. I think I messed that up. I don't think she's fun to play. I don't think she's fun to play with. And I don't think she's fun to play against. That's what I'm saying. I just think she's just not that fun of a character. She makes the game she brings very little value to the table unless they're playing ball or they're playing Doom or you're a support player. That's about it. Aside from that, why would you pick Sombra when you can pick Cassidy? Why would you pick Sombra when you can play Torb? Why would you pick Sombra when you can play Pharah? Or even Bastion? Or even Venture? Don't pick Sombra. Don't do it. Ashe. I think Ashe is really strong this season. Her Viper Sting, 2 consecutive shots, deals a little bit of extra damage. And her ability to go boom with one of her perks, she can shoot faster while not scoped in. And then when she's scoped in, boom, she can do high damage. So she can do a lot of immediate damage up front, quick and easy, and then finish them off with a 2-tap of a boom Viper Sting combo. I think she's really strong. Plus, if you want to, you can choose her Coach Gun perk, and it will buff you out a little bit. It'll make you be able to move a little bit farther and send people farther away. So if you're playing a map like Ilios or Lijiang, you can go with your Coach Gun and you can shoot them and they'll fly off the edge. So I think she's really strong. I think Echo is also very strong. I'm going to put her at the top of B though. Reason being, it's her ultimate. She's got to know who to copy. And if you're playing with someone who doesn't know what to do, they might not copy the right person, or they might not. That's a stupid reason. I shouldn't put that in. Don't put that in the video, me. Alright, next we have Echo. I'm going to put Echo at the top of B tier. The reason being, her perks didn't do a ton for her. Sure, she can do a little bit of extra. What actually can she do with her perks? Echo. I thought that's what it was. Her perks didn't do a ton for her. She can duplicate target allies. That's really cool, but a lot of the time you're playing mirrored matches anyway because people like to play the strongest heroes. So it doesn't matter. You might both be playing Cassidy and, oh, whoop-de-doo, you can choose your own Cassidy now. Oh. Things like that. Enhanced duplication. Your first clone's ultimate extends your duplicate by 3 seconds. So you can last a little bit longer and maybe get a second ult off. I don't know. I don't think that's very good. The sticky bombs fire 50% more projectiles, but they deal less damage. So as we learned with Ashe, that's kind of a good thing, but it's not that crazy. A lot of the times you use the sticky bombs anyway just to do more damage so that you can finish them off with your focusing beam. And then it resets your flight cooldown, which is already a short cooldown. So they don't add a ton. And then also, why would you pick Echo when you can pick Pharah? Because Pharah also flies and does a lot more damage. Sojourn is our next hero. She's definitely an S tier hero. Let's look at what she can do, because I don't exactly remember. Oh, her railgun's energy is increased by 50 while overclock is active, which means she can one-shot people. Or she can choose a maximum of 15 more ammo. One shot or a maximum of 15 ammo. More and more. More ammo. And then also her power slide can go to lateral movement, or she can sticker disruptor to people for constant damage guaranteed. And it generates energy for your railgun. So Sojourn is definitely one of those ones. Why pick this perk when you can pick this perk? It's crazy. But she's definitely an S tier because those perks are crazy. And she was already one of the most dominant heroes in the game. So actually, I think she's the top. I think she's the most broken DPS in the game right now. So that is your... Come on. All right. So that is your Season 15 pre-mid-season patch notes DPS tier list. Now let's take a look at the supports. Kiriko. I think Kiriko is an S tier. Why? She can teleport twice with her teleport. She can cleanse, which has always been really strong. Her healing Ofuda will travel much faster whenever they're on critical. I think that if she wasn't as an S tier before, she definitely is one now. She might have been A tier last season. I think that this is enough to bump her up to S tier, right? So her perks helped her out quite a bit. I think she's bumped up. Zen. I still think Zen is B tier. He's really easy to get rid of that Orb of Discord. And at least now he can float a little bit, which gives him a little bit more mobility, but he's still not that strong. Sure, he does do a lot of damage, but I think he's just outclassed by heroes like Juno and Ana and even Lucio. Juno, I think Juno is also S tier. Her Meta Blaster can now crit headshot. It can target your allies a lot faster. One of her perks is actually going to get buffed in mid-season, so that'll be interesting to see. But right now, it's not that great. But you can crit with your Meta Blaster. That's crazy. All on its own. I think she was S tier last season. I definitely think she's S tier this season as well. Elwiwi is our first D tier. His perks did nothing for him, and he's just a heal bot. I'm so sorry if you play Lifeweaver. I don't get it. His life grip is cool. Its perk is kind of neat, but that's about it. Illari, I think Illari's a B tier. She's really good. Her pylon is nice to have in the back while you're healing someone in the front. You can have your pylon healing the back line, or the opposite way around. While you're in the back line, you can throw your pylon out to heal somebody who you might not even be able to see. So that's nice, but I don't think she's that strong. Her perks didn't do a ton for her, so I just don't think she's all that. Mercy, before she would have been down here, but with her perks and with Sojourn being so strong and Cass being so strong, you betcha Mercy gets bumped up to C tier. She's really good. I like playing her, but she just falls over to some of these DPS characters and even these tank characters. So I'm sorry, Mercy mains. She's my most played hero, but she's just not that great. Brig is definitely S tier though. 25 healing on just her kit alone makes her S tier. What do her perks even do? It restores, so when she bashes somebody with her shield, it gives her 100 health to her shield. So it makes her shield harder to break, which is nice. Her Inspire lasts 3 seconds longer when activated by Whip Shot, so it's way more beneficial to go whoosh and whip somebody than it is to hit them with your mace. Repair packs heal an additional 35 health on critical allies. That's insane. That means she can heal 160 HP or something like that. That's kind of crazy with one health pack. And Whip Shot's knockback can, if they slam it into a wall, do 50 extra damage, whatever. But she was S tier before. She's definitely still S tier now. Bap, I think, is our first A tier support. I think he's really strong. His ultimate is really good. His damage is very good, and his healing is also pretty crazy too. And he's got insane survivability if you use that right. His jump and his perks helped him out a good bit this season. I think he's really strong. I think Moira's right there with him. Moira, her damage orb's getting buffed with her perks. Her beams of healing and damage both got changed a little bit with perks. So it's super nice. And I think that she was strong last season. She might have been top of B tier last season, but I think her perks bump her up to A. Lucio. I think Lucio is another A tier competitor. Reason being his boop buff. I love boop, and Lucio needed a boop buff. That's it. I love Lucio. Anyway, Ana, I think, is a final S tier candidate. No, she's top of A tier. I think Kira's going to move down to A as well. I think Kira's at the very top of A tier, and I think Ana's right below her. Reason being is because Ana's nade having a second charge when it hits somebody, so it hits and then it bounces again. That's kind of crazy. She can headshot people. Ana also has... What else did she get? I know those are the two that I mainly choose. What else did she get? Oh, she can self-nano herself. That's crazy. So she can save herself if she's about to die, which in turn gives your whole team longer uptime. So that's crazy. And honestly, she's like right... Actually, I think Kiriko's just going to fall down a little bit even more. And I think Moira might get moved down too. Looking at this... I think Bat might fall down too. That feels fair. I'm sorry, Moira. I apologize, but it's just not working out. Things aren't going your way. So I think that's my Season 15 pre-mid-season patch tier list. I think that's it. So, if you like this video and you want to see more of my content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I stream daily on TikTok and Twitch at 4 to 5 p.m. EST. If you want to check me out there, give me some words of advice about my tier list, you join me up, hit me up. I'll be there. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button, like the video. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. We don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows. Nobody can know.